but I know that feeling because a lot of times I get the Denise. Is that
It's the worst, dude.
Denise?
You think you did a good job, and then everyone gets it wrong, and you're like, "Did I screw it up? Like, I
No, it
think this
is.
is my fault." Oh,
No,
man.
surely I'm not out of touch. The children are wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, fellow
Um,
kids.
Hello, fellow kids.
I'm also hip and fly.
So funny,
um,
man.
well, I'm just gonna
Rip.
drop shit. Rip. It's
Alright, well,
okay. I didn't
everybody
mean
have a
bad.
good night. We'll see you.
So go check him out on those things. So you said you're in a band.
Yeet.
Um, I kind of there's always like the basement bands, and then you got like the small stage bands, and then you got like maybe like on Warp Tour, and then maybe headlining Warp Tour, and then kind of bigger. Where would you kind of say you guys are? And what are some other groups that you guys have toured with?
I mean, we've been the basement band. We actually started as like a local band that had no intention of like doing anything, and then I booked a tour and it was fun. And then I was just like, "Well, we're gonna do another one," and everyone was like, "Whatever," just kind of like grumpy about it. And then everyone's like, "Wait, it's tight." So then we did it for a long time, and yeah, I mean, we're definitely not a basement band. I guess like we've toured with like bigger bands sometimes. So we're like, I don't know, like small to mid range. Like we toured with
Mm,
some of the bands we toured with, like Beartooth. We've been friends with that band for a long time. Who else? Silent Planet. We toured with like War of Ages. We toured with Obey the Brave. So like we've toured with bands that people are familiar with for sure.
mm,
Vanna, we did like the last Vanna tour, Kublai Khan, To the Wind. So yeah, like lots of bands that people know, and then some tours with bands that people don't know.
mm-hmm.
And those are usually the ones where we're on top or whatever headlining.
Yeah.
So some people know who we are, but a lot of people don't.
And just kind of like lead us into this conversation. When you were on tour, about how long of a stretch is that usually?
I mean, it started off like weekends, and then it progressed to like, oh, we'll do like a week, we'll do 7 days, and then
Mm-hmm.
then it was 2 weeks, then it was 3 weeks. Anymore, we've slowed down just a little bit, like I think just because of life, and then like as you know, like Warped Tour is over, so now you've got like all the huge bands who want to do tours all the time. Whereas like in the summer, it was like if you're a huge band, you're just gonna do Warped Tour. Now all those
Mm-hmm.
huge bands are like, we're gonna do huge tours and take other huge bands, and we're just like, we're right here. Like we would
Mm-hmm.
love to go. So it's been a little slower lately, but it kind of ranges like 2 weeks to a month usually seems to be the average. 2 weeks if it's going to be a smaller tour. If it's a full US, like minimum a month. Like it just takes that long to get around the US.
Mm-hmm.
And it be like a financial decision that makes sense. Like, you don't want 12-hour drives driving around the US every day. You'll just be broke. More
Yeah.
broke than you already are.
Yeah. Because a lot of people who travel, and I'm sure you could probably attest to this, it gets really boring, right?
Oh
There's
yeah.
especially because you're from Illinois, right?
Yes.
As I say, I thought I remember you guys being from Illinois, so you know what it's like to drive through the Midwest. There's not a whole hell of a
Boy,
lot to
do
look
I.
at. you know, oh, we're in Springfield, Illinois, and we have to go to Des Moines, Iowa. That is not a fun drive. you know. So what are some
No.
of the ways that you've been keeping yourself busy or, entertained on the road?
It's actually funny. I was just thinking about this like right before we started about how we've been a band for long enough that we've seen like all these different technologies. Like
Hmm.
when we first started, I mean, like we're not one of those bands where it's like when we started touring, we had to use printed out directions. But like we had like pretty garbage smartphones for like the first couple
Hmm.
years. So it's like we had like the Droid one like pinned to the window, and Google Maps can like barely find the location. We're just like, where the hell are we? Um but like, yeah, so like keeping ourselves busy at first, it was just like you just probably an iPod. Like we all had
Hmm.
iPods, which is again one of those things now. People are like, iPods, like who has an iPod? I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like you got Spotify.
Yeah.
Um, it started off with just like iPod. Like that's what everybody had.
Mhm.
Books. We'd read a lot of books. Chris and I specifically would read a lot of comic books. Like literally, I would figure out like whatever series I wanted to read on a tour, and I would just buy the whole. Like I'd try to do like backlogs. You know, I don't know if anybody's familiar with comics. Like you usually can go to a comic book store and buy backlogs of like whole series for like $10. You know,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
come out month by month and they're like $4 to $5 an issue, but you hit the backlog bin, you know, series like old spectacular Spider-Man stuff like that, you can get it for like $10 for the whole series. So I would just buy big, thick, like tons of backlog stuff, just blow through that. And then we got, you know, a little further into the future, and then like the 3DS came out. Like the regular DS was cool, but it was whatever. And then the 3DS came
Mhm.
out, played 3DS a bunch. And now we got this Switch. And I also have a gaming laptop as well, but like you can't like open a friggin' 17-inch laptop and like plug it into the van. So like it's straight to the
Mhm.
Switch for sure. And podcasts. Like we listen to tons of podcasts now. Like music barely ever gets played anymore. It's all uh podcasts and stand-up comedy. Like 99% of the time that's what's playing through the speakers, and then everybody's doing their individual things. Chris and I are usually playing Switch. Steven literally only drives ever. Like he doesn't do anything else. And I'm not kidding. Like dude, he's a madman. Literally
Mhm.
drives every single day. Doesn't matter how long the drive is. Every once in a while, Chris will drive, but like a full month-long tour, Steven has driven 99% of it. It's so insane.
Jesus.
So he doesn't do anything but drive. Um,
Mhm.
Nick plays friggin' iPhone games. He's like always playing what I think it's like golf or something. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't have an iPhone, but I know that there's like iPhone games. He's like always playing those.
Mhm.
Andrew listens to music and talks on the phone a lot. I don't know who he talks to, but he has somebody to talk to every day. And then he pulls out his laptop, and Andrew does like a lot of production, so
Mhm.
he'll sit there and like, you know, just like make beats or whatever he's working on at the time. Like he'll mess with that. So
Mhm. And just out of curiosity, is there ever a point in time where, because you guys are usually stuck in a van together for very long periods of time, and then you go to a show and play with each other, play music with each other, and then you guys go to a restaurant and probably eat together. Like, is there ever like a moment where you just kind of used your entertainment to escape from each other? Because I've heard horror stories.
um
Um,
I mean, you're in the same boat as I am, where I've heard horror stories,
mhm.
and even from like close friends where they're just like, yeah, like some days I just like gotta get away. That really doesn't happen to us.
Hmm.
Like it does, but when it does, it's like it's because somebody's having like an off day.
Mhm.
You know, something's bothering them, or just like they hadn't had enough sleep or something. But it's never like a situation where we're just like I'm done. I don't want to be near Chris, or I don't want to be like that. Just doesn't happen. We've all
Mhm.
been friends for so long, and like we kind of know each other's buttons, and we know how far we can push, and like we know to be able to take it as much as we can dish it out, and like there's like a pretty good balance. Like we're all pretty respectful of each other, and we know our boundaries, and so like we try not to cross those. And yeah, we're like, I mean, we're on tour together. Like our the most important thing for us is to like have fun together. And so I think above anything else, it's just like that's the number one priority, is like we're here together. We're the only people we have. Like we need to have fun together.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Cool.
we don't really argue. We'll bicker about stupid stuff. Like sometimes Steven doesn't want to stop for food, and I'm just like, dog, like I'm dying here. Nick has to pee a lot. You'll hear you'll hear Steven, dude. Steven wants to murder Nick like 4 times a night. Nick's like he'll like text the group chat like gotta pee, and Steven's just like I'm pulling over. He's like I'm not getting off the highway. And Nick's like, oh, all right, that's fine. It's so funny, dude.
I'm
Every
kind of
time he does, it's so funny.
I'm kind of curious. I want to ask the other people I know who have gone out with Nick.
If he has to pee that much,
Just send a
turns
text
out
to
it's a
Dylan.
recent development. It's like
Just from
it's actually
it's
Nick just needs to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
It's
just
so
text
funny.
like Dylan or somebody else that knows Nick, and just be like, so.
Not a question I ever thought to ask, but now I'm curious. So
um,
funny, dude.
so you mentioned that you guys have been playing the Switch a lot. What are your guys' games when you play?
I mean, for Chris and I have like pretty similar tastes as far as games.
Hmm.
Like before GhostKey was ever a band, like every weekend for me was going to Chris's house and playing video games. Like when
Hmm.
we first met, it was just like, all right, I'm done with high school for the week. Like I'm going to Chris's house and we're probably going to stay up for like 72 hours and just play video games. So like we pretty much always see eye to eye on everything, and anything that comes out that's multiplayer, we're probably both going to buy it. Like we both bought Smash, and we've played that a ton together. I know he's been playing a lot of Hollow Knight, which I finished a while back. But there is a new Hollow Knight game coming out. The
Dude,
friggin'
Hollow Knight is so
developers,
good.
dude, the developers were like, "Yeah, we're gonna release free DLC. It's gonna be really cool." And then they were like, "Actually, it's just a sequel. It's way bigger." And I just like texted Chris. I was like, "Dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" Like freaking out. So he I know he's playing Hollow Knight right now. I played that a lot on the road. I played Mario Odyssey 2 or 3 times on the road just because like that's probably my favorite Mario game of all time. Like I'm a pretty big Nintendo fan. They've had their missteps, and I've missed generations. Like I wasn't in on the Wii U, but like Mario is definitely one of my favorite characters of all time. And so I played Odyssey a few times. I actually haven't finished Breath of the Wild, which is weird for me because I like Zelda is again one of my favorite series of all time, but I just haven't put enough time into Breath of the Wild. But it is a really good game on the road because I can put like an hour or two into it and then put it down and switch to something else. The Switch is really good for indie games. Obviously, I was talking about Hollow Knight, but like I put a lot of time into Enter the Gungeon. I don't know if you
Hmm.
guys are
That
familiar,
game is
but
also super good. Yeah.
and it's like for me, I can play it as many times as I want. Literally, I never get sick of it because it's just it is what it is. It's a roguelite. So you just play it over and over and over and over and try to get better and try to unlock more guns and like stuff like that for me is super addicting. Binding of Isaac is like the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I love twin stick shooters. Super big fan of those. So I literally there's been nights where I'll drive 7 hours and I'll play Gungeon for all 7. We'll get there and I'm just like, holy shit, I did like literally 100 runs tonight. Dead Cells is another one that's like a side scroller, like Metroidvania style game. Just again playing run over run over run over just over and over.
Hmm.
Dude, you're just
Um,
naming all of my like favorite indie games.
oh,
Just
dude, I
outright.
love. I talk about all the time on my channel, like as I love AAA games, but
Hmm.
I have such a soft spot for indie titles. I because for me, like it's so easy to think about it the same way I think about my band is
Hmm.
it's like it's usually a small group of people. They don't have like a ton of money. They don't have a ton of funding. It's literally like a passion project, right? They just believe in it and they want nothing more for that game to succeed because it's literally everything to them. They're putting their heart and soul into it. And it's the same thing like what we're doing. We're literally out there like not we don't have a ton of money. We're not making any money. Like we're literally just doing it because it's something that we love and we're passionate about. And so you see what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah.
so similar for me. And so like I go way out of my way to make sure that any indie game that comes out that I am semi interested in, I do as much research as I can and I'll buy it. Like it takes very little for me to want to buy an indie game because it's just so easy for me to identify. And like 99% of the time I buy it and it ends up being a great game anyway. Like
Hmm.
literally anything by Devolver Digital, if you've ever played
Yeah.
any like
Hmm.
anytime they publish a game, it's like, yep, buy it. Ape Out, no,
I know of
you
Ape Out.
haven't
I
played
haven't
it,
played it yet.
dude. You
Hmm.
gotta play Ape Out. It's so good. It's a Devolver Digital game. No surprise, it's perfect. But
Yeah.
so yeah, like a ton of indie games. Smash, Mario Party on our last tour was nuts, dude. Because Chris and I both have a Switch, and you could play Mario Party with one Joy-Con.
Hmm.
And so we would just like swap one person in and out, but we'd pass out 4 Joy-Cons. Anywhere we would go, we'd go to like people's houses to stay and be like, "Yo, do you have a TV with HDMI?" They'd be like, "Yeah, why?" I'm like, "Oh, we just gotta play Mario Party." They're like, "Don't you wanna sleep? You have to drive tomorrow?" It's like, "Yeah, but we wanna play Mario Party."
Yeah,
So
no, no,
sick.
no. This is more
So
important.
Yeah.
so yeah.
Well, awesome. Trying to think of like another thing I was gonna ask you, but it totally skipped my mind. Ryan, you have anything you want to talk about on this subject real quick?
Um, Not particularly. You just named off a ton of like games that I've just they're all my favorite like indie titles. You're like Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, fucking
Yeah.
Error of the Gungeon. I'm just like,
Dude,
what?
I can tell you about how I look like a psycho when we show up to a venue and I like start asking everybody that works there. I'm like, "Do you have an outlet available?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you just need to plug in some lights." I'm like, no, I actually need the Wi-Fi and an outlet." And then I'll just like sweep. You always see in like movies when people walk up to tables, just sweep everything off the table. I just like sweep all the shit off and like throw my laptop down. And it's a 17-inch like Alienware, so it looks ridiculous. And I like flip it open, plug my mouse in, and I'm just like, all right, I'll be here for another 3 hours. And they're like, yo, the Wi-Fi sucks. And I'm just like, it's
I'll
my fault.
manage.
Like, there's like been so many when PUBG came out.
Mhm,
I was like I was so addicted. Every day we'd show up to a venue because we were on tour. I think right around the time it came out, it was like March of last year,
Mhm.
and uh, we'd show up to a venue and I'd be like, "Yeah, how good is your Wi-Fi?" And they'd be like, "Not very good." And I would be like, "That's okay. I'll just tether to my phone." And literally was like tethering to my phone every day to play PUBG with my friends, and it was terrible. Like the worst. My ping is like 150 easy, and I'm just like, "It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I'll manage." Like making every excuse I could. It was so. I look like such a psycho, but like gaming has been such a huge part of my life. Like I've literally been playing video games since I was like 4 years old. I feel like that's a lot of people's story nowadays, but
mhm.
uh, I just anywhere I can go that I can play games, like I'm happy. I just love playing games.
Mhm.
And if I
Cool.
look like a psycho with a massive laptop, like that's fine. It's a price I'm willing to pay.
So, like, what's been the it? Let me kind of get this to kind of where some other people are, because not everyone who travels is in a band, and sometimes they don't have the same or five people that they can enjoy something like that with. What are some tips you have for people who have to travel? Contractors, people who have to drive to and from two different places for work. Like I said, contractors is one of them. You know, auditors, they have to go to different businesses and do auditing and stuff like that. What are some other tips that you have for people, or maybe they're just going on like a long road trip? What are some tips you have for people who are going out on the road and want a game?
Well, number one, for those people that are driving, literally find podcasts you love and binge.
Yeah.
Like nothing makes a drive easier than finding a podcast that you love and that you're invested in. Like I'm a big fan of audio dramas, so like uh Welcome to Night Vale is a really good one. It's a super popular one. It has like a million episodes. God, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Limetown is like another amazing one. Black Tapes, all super super good. Yeah. So like if you're driving and you can't, if you don't own a Tesla and you can't like play your Switch while you're driving, um, not that that's recommended. That's against the law. I never said you should do it. I just said you could. Uh, yeah, podcasts are super good. Just like I a lot of times with music, and this is part of the reason we stopped listening to it, is it just kind of all becomes noise
Mhm.
because you're just like driving and you're focusing on just going forward. And then after a while, it's just like, how many times have we listened to this Wage War record? Whatever you're listening
Mhm.
to. It's just like, is this the same backtrack song I've heard for four? I don't. So it's just so much easier to focus when you have like you're being told a story. There's a really good. Oh, actually, somebody in chat already said it. Sean said it. There's a really good Wolverine. If you're into superheroes, a Wolverine podcast that is super, super good. It's really well made. As far as like gaming on the go, if you don't own a Switch, you're a fool. I'm like, there is literally no reason in 2019 if you are somebody who wants to play video games on the road, if you don't own a Switch, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's literally and I know that there's one person in chat that bought one and returned it, and I'm disappointed with them because I'm not kidding you. Like, so I've owned, or not, not me specifically have owned, but like in my family and also me, I've owned almost every single console that's ever come out, like from the NES forward. And I can definitively say that the Nintendo Switch is one of the greatest consoles of all time. Obviously, that's my opinion, but if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Because not only are like AAA developers flocking to the Switch because they're like, holy shit, this thing sold. I can't remember the exact number. Somebody else might, but I want to say it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 million units, maybe more,
Mhm.
which is insane, especially for a Nintendo console. That just like doesn't happen. And so like all these AAA developers are flocking to it. Like you're getting like Diablo 3 remaster, Doom came out on the Switch, which is an amazing reboot. Wolfenstein 2, which is I don't think anybody saw coming. Skyrim. So like you're getting all these AAA titles, and obviously there's like more to be announced. You get all the first party stuff from Nintendo, which is always good, except Mario Aces because it's broken. But that's a I love Aces, but it's broken. It's broken. But yeah, you're getting all the first party Nintendo stuff, and then like there is literally no better console other than maybe a PC that you're getting like tons of indie support. There's an
wholeheartedly
endless
agree.
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an endless amount of indie games, and they're dirt cheap. Like there are so many. You could literally walk, like figuratively speaking, walk into the Nintendo eShop and start looking around with
Mhm.
$60 that you would normally spend on one game. You could walk away with 5 games easy that are all
Yeah.
like good. They'll hold your attention forever. So like
Mhm.
that, yeah. I mean, if you don't own a Switch and you're traveling, like it doesn't make any sense to me because your only other option is like to be one of those people that has like the screen that attaches to your PS4. It's just like a pain in the ass, or like a gaming laptop. But like one, like I said, you look like a psycho if you set that up anywhere in public, or like if you, God, I can't even imagine like Captain Auditor opens it in like a meeting, he like whips out his Alienware, and they're just like, "Are you kidding, man? Like, what the hell?" So like, yeah, I mean the Switch, like, and also the fact that it's USB-C, you can
Mhm.
literally buy one of those like cheap power bricks off of Amazon and double or even triple the battery life. Like
Mhm.
there are so many drives where I've literally played a Switch for 10 hours,
Yeah.
and just because I have a battery plugged into it. It takes nothing to run it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I will say, I've heard some things about third-party power bricks. I know Anchor has like a Switch specific one, and I've heard some other things about like Switch bases, charging bases, that you have to be careful because the Switch has some different charging language. To
Yeah. So like my understanding is that it's not just like flat out USB-C. I'm not gonna get like too into it, but yeah, I know that it's like a proprietary technology.
Mhm.
The way that the power is delivered to the Switch is like different than just like a phone.
Mhm.
I haven't had any trouble with my power brick. That's not saying that you should just go out and buy any random power brick, but yeah, like the Anchor ones. Nick in chat is actually a good friend of mine. Yeah, he said it. USB PD. That's like their proprietary technology. I haven't had an issue with mine. The Nintendo Switch like branded Anchor power supplies are great. They're a little more expensive because obviously they have to be licensed and they got to pay extra
Mhm.
money to have the logo on there, but it's still like they're still worth it. Like there's
Yeah.
like I said, you buy one of those and like dude, you can get 10 hours of AAA quality games in your hands. That's ridiculous. Like that's so
Mhm.
insane to me.
Yeah. Um. So kind of going on here. I know we have. I have a game I want to talk about, but Ren,
Oh
you've
god,
been
we're
a
already
little
starting with
quiet to the
this.
show.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
He's like,
you've been a
"Oh
little.
shit."
You've been quiet this show. Let's have you talk about Pacify.
Yeah, no, I
Oh, no.
played a really horrible horror game recently. It's a horror game called Pacify. It's from the same makers of Emily Wants to Play. It's so bad. I don't even know how to describe it. So, it's basically a story about a little girl who's possessed by demons, and you have to go find like baby dolls to like chill her the fuck out, and while
It's
also
so
finding other baby
ridiculous.
dolls to make her angry. It's really
Ugh.
confusing. Like that in itself was really fucking weird, just outright. I was like, I don't what? So initially, first off, I'm just gonna say this game is like 99% stock assets. So I already have
Do you
some
know if
issues
it's
with it.
Unity or if it's UE?
I'm not sure. I think it's Unity. If I
Yeah, I
remember
looked
right,
at the
I feel like it was
trailer.
a Unity
It
game.
looked like a Unity game.
Yeah.
Good old asset flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a 100% asset flip. I was even looking through the reviews, and this is the really weird thing, which actually kind of raises some questions for me. But it was rated very positive, and I only found 2 bad reviews. One of them said it was a copy of a free game, and then the other one said that it was one of the worst games that they've ever bought. And I'm inclined to believe them because, oh my god, it was horrible. So essentially, you start out in front of this building, and I guess you're part of like this abnormal like conspiracy shit like task force. You're basically like trying to discover ghosts. That's your job. You're the ghost
Oh,
hunters.
so you're Post Malone in that episode of Ghost Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so you go inside the house, and for me personally, when I play a horror game, I don't expect the ghost to just be super chill. She walked up to me, and was just like, "Hi, how are you?" And that was it. Like, she just stood in front of my face. There was no cut to a jump scare or anything. It was just nothing. She was just chilling there, and I was like,
She's like, "Hey,
yeah,
good to see you.
exactly."
Peace."
And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, can I press a button? And I pressed left click. And you know what you do? You push her onto the ground. That's what you just do. And
You
I was like,
throw a
I don't know what's
child
happening.
ghost on the ground.
Yes. Yeah.
You bully
And I was
the
like,
ghost.
I don't understand. That's exactly what the game is it's just bully the ghost girl simulator. And I was like, I don't understand where any of this logic is coming from. I don't get it.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started, and if you watch the trailer, within the first like 10 seconds, it shows the what I'm assuming is like the main ghost, and her model is like the 3D model is floating across the ground, but there's no animation. Like it's literally it's like a static model, and it's just being drug across the ground. It's so bizarre. I was like, this doesn't look very good.
Yeah, the model might as well be in the T-pose.
Literally, yeah, literally just like.
Well, that's just it. Is that I found out that the baby dolls are in T-poses. Like, they're not, like, they were literally just taken from somewhere. I don't know where, but they were just immediately just placed into the game and just like,
they reminded me of
T-posing babies.
If you've ever played Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls, there are little skeleton babies, and that's what they reminded me of, but not nearly as terrifying.
Yeah.
It definitely looked rough. Like I had said before, it looked like somebody was like, okay, so there's PT and then Visage, which is like the spiritual successor to PT.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna make a spiritual successor to a spiritual successor with the assets that are all free in Unity.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna pay for anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It plays out so weird at first. So initially your goal is to find keys, and like there's notes, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Classic horror trope. Just go find stuff.
Yeah. It was just like, oh, go look for keys, and also there's a bunch of notes that you can read, and it kind of just played out like a Slender
Another
clone.
class. Yeah, it's like,
and
it's the most classic horror. Read notes, collect stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even feel like enthralled to read the notes. I read one, and it was like really not sensible. Like, it didn't make any sense to read, and it was also super boring. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna read any more of these. That's not gonna happen. I'm good.
I don't need this.
Yeah, no, if you're not gonna sell me
the game's
immediately,
like
I'm just gonna dip.
environmental lore is not good.
Yeah,
You probably just
Yeah, I was
probably
like,
done with it.
you know, I think I'm good.
Did you play Visage?
I did play Visage. Yeah,
Great game,
yeah. No,
amazing.
Visage was fucking
It's
incredible.
not done. It's not done. Like I want to go back. It's an early access game, but like yeah, like I said, it just looked like a ripoff of Visage, but not nearly as good. Visage has awesome storytelling, like through
Yeah,
their notes. It's all the same. It's literally the same exact mechanics. It's like I think you collect a couple keys, but yeah, all the notes and stuff. Like we played through it on stream, and I'm like, I was like, this is so good. Like the writing is so awesome, and I'm like, it's pretty similar in the sense that it's like, I think it's a UE game, but
Mhm.
it's probably like half bought assets, half
Yeah,
made. Like,
yeah,
it's not like the most amazing game graphically, but like
yeah.
you can do a
It
lot
it
with
definitely
very
was
little.
like a significantly more polished game for sure.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was like
100%.
you could tell that they put in a lot of work on it, and that was one thing about Visage that really grabbed my attention. Was like, oh, okay, they put effort into this. I'll give them that 100% easily. This one just felt like they just kind of threw stuff together, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Even at some point, so apparently the character, the ghost girl, goes between like passive states where she's just waddling around like a goddamn fucking penguin. I don't understand. And and
You're
into
so
ghost
upset
girl
about this. I
mode.
love it.
And into ghost girl mode. And one of the times she went into ghost girl mode, and occasionally she'll teleport, and it's like super rare that it happens. But occasionally she'll teleport, and she teleported into a locked room and just stayed there for 15 minutes, just screaming. And I was like,
That's how you know it's an
I'm
asset
just
flip,
gonna
'cause,
go
like,
anywhere else.
the coding is just super broken, and they probably don't even know that bug exists, and nobody's ever gonna take the time to let them know. It's
Yeah.
just gonna stay. Like, I've played so many games through like I don't know if you're familiar with like itch.io.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah,
Super awesome website, but also filled with like a bunch of kind of shovelware and like asset flips.
yeah.
And yeah, there's been a handful where I've played and I'm just like, this is a bug that has existed since this game was made 4 years ago, and nobody has ever bothered to fix it. Like people like clipping into walls, or like yeah, like the girl just being in a locked room that there's no way you can
Yeah,
get to it. You're like googling, you're like, how to get to the locked room, and
yeah.
there's no results because people are just like, I don't, you
Yeah,
can't.
there was just no reason to
Nobody
go
got
to
that
the
far.
locked room. It was just like,
Yeah,
congratulations, you played yourself. I'm gonna go finish the game now.
yeah,
Bye. And it was
so
like,
good, dude.
okay, I guess. There's something else I wanted to note. So one of the key like selling factors of this game is that it's a multiplayer horror game. That's like its keynote. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that sounds like a dumb idea because multiplayer horror games don't work. You're right. It doesn't work. It's horrible. It's absolutely atrocious. So I tested it because I normally stream. I tested
So
off stream
you
to
made
just like
somebody else buy this game,
4 people.
is what you're saying. You made four
4
people
people
buy this.
played this with me. It was a 4-person group that we played this with. Oh, they all wanted to play it because they were just like, "Oh, this seems great." And I was like, I was even watching the trailer. I was like, I don't know. I do not know about this one.
I'm unsure.
Yeah, and so
How much
off
was it?
stream, it was $5. So I'm not like totally
cool.
mad about it being
Yeah.
absolute garbage, but I mean it's anyway.
Price is sometimes indicative of quality, not always, but
Yeah.
in this case,
Often.
What was I gonna say? So I tested it off stream, and this is where I ran into most of these issues. I only played it for like 10 minutes, immediately ran into the ghost girl. She kind of just walked up to me, and I pushed her on the ground, and I was like, this game's a fucking meme. And I was like, nope, I'm done with it. We're gonna wait until the multiplayer stream starts. And so doing that, the exact same thing happened, but everybody freaked out. I was like, no, just watch this. And then we all grouped around her and just started pushing her all over the place, and she was just all, like she was
you
struggling.
won.
Yeah,
That's how you win.
yeah, exactly. It was like, okay. So the game, it honestly just felt like a meme of a game more than anything. I was so shocked that they were like selling it as a horror game. It felt so much more like, yeah, this is the game where there's a ghost girl and you really just like beat her up and then take all her dolls.
You ever
and
wanted
then
to beat
that's
up a
it.
ghost? We got the simulator for you.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It was super weird. But one of the mechanics of it being like a multiplayer game is that if you get caught, you get turned into one of the babies, but you don't get turned into like the baby model. you just get turned into a really tiny version of your character.
Oh,
And then you could
boy.
just walk around like really, really fucking tiny. I know what you're thinking. Like, what the fuck is this? And so I didn't understand. Like, I didn't realize that you could change this at any point in time. And so I'm just walking around as a fucking demon baby, just like strolling around, and the ghost doesn't give two shits about me anymore because I'm a demon baby. So I'm just rocking and rolling throughout this entire fucking place, just chilling, and I guess you can throw yourself into a furnace to turn yourself back to normal, but you don't turn back to normal. You turn back into your normal character, but slightly taller. And like it was
Dude,
super clear there was a bug.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
But that's just it.
It's a
So
feature.
I kept getting caught because I wanted to see how much this would go. And at this point, I'm like clipping through like floors.
Oh, you like the bug is
You
that you
progressively
get bigger every
just
time.
get taller and taller and taller. Your model stays the same height, but like your camera just keeps going higher and higher and
That's
higher.
so good, dude.
Yeah, so I'm just like my camera is like lost in the ground of like the upper floor, and I'm just like I can't see anymore. I don't know what to tell you. And
That's so
it
good.
was so bad. I guess it also has a PvP mode.
Shouldn't.
Right? That was what I thought. I was like, I don't know.
It sounds
what
like
that
one of those
means.
games where like they tried to do too much.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, oh, we got to do everything. It's like, no, you should just try to do one thing really well.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a multiplayer like horror-esque game. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. It's on Steam. It's free.
Mhm. Is it
and
Deceit?
It is Deceit. That's
I
what it's
knew
called.
it. Yes.
That game is really good, and
Yeah.
they didn't bother. We're not going to do a story mode.
Mhm.
We're just going to do multiplayer. We're going to do multiplayer really well.
Mhm.
That game is super fun. If you've ever played Werewolf, it's literally just Werewolf, the card game, but in a video game, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. That game is it's not as populated now. It kind of
Mhm.
died out, but like anytime I've been able to get like a group of friends, it works really well as just a bunch of friends because you
Yeah.
all kind of know each other and you can kind of like push and pull, and like you're like a little more inclined to like joke and like be a dick, but also believe your friends when they're like, I'm not the monster.
Yeah.
That game is super good. Yeah, I've played it not a bunch. I don't want to say a bunch. I probably put like
Mhm.
at least 10 hours into it. Just every now and then I'll try to get
Yeah.
a group and play a few
played-
matches.
I played the hell out of it when I found it.
Mhm.
And I stopped playing mostly because I found even if I didn't have the t.tv in my name,
Oh, yeah.
people would still find out that
Yeah.
I was streaming somehow. Like they were just
stream
like,
snipe you.
yeah, like there wasn't a bunch of people playing, so they would just like probably refresh the page or whatever, and I'd get stream sniped
Yeah,
quite
literally
often.
just go to the category and see who's streaming.
Yeah, and then I had the problem too where like I would just get like Russian kids screaming
Mhm.
at me,
Yeah.
like in broken English.
You're like,
and I'm
no, I don't know what you're saying.
just like in broken English, and it's like you're the monster, you're the monster, you're the monster, just like over and over and over
Friendly,
again. Like,
sensory
friendly, and you're just
overload.
like, I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening.
I'm like, can you like just go try to hack another election or something?
So
Can you
I'm
stop
pretty
playing
sure
with
somebody
me?
was stream sniping me during Dark Souls the other night. I was streaming Dark Souls 2, and there's not a lot of
Uh-huh.
people that stream in that category. And there was like one dude, he just kept invading me over and over. It was literally nonstop. And I kept killing him, and I was like, I'm like yelling at the screen, I'm like, dude, please stop. Like, I don't want to fight you, and I just keep killing you. Like, I'm just trying to do this one thing. And like that's like definitely the downside of playing in a small category on Twitch is
Yeah.
because like if somebody wants to look you up, they just like pull up the category. There's literally like three lines of people, like 20 people streaming the game. So they're just like, oh, it's this guy. And
Yeah.
I'm the one dude. Oh, Sean, he's talking about something else. I freaked out on stream. Somebody invaded me and I ended up like killing him after he was totally wrecking me. And I got way too hype about it.
Yeah.
I was like, get out of my house. Like it's pretty funny.
I had a moment kind of similar. When I used to stream a game called Dirty Bomb quite a bit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
I'm
is-
familiar with that game.
And I was for a while I was one of like the top like 3, like regularly I was like one of the top 3. And I had already had problems. I had met a bunch of friends through this game. I had met a friend Mama Mouthy and a friend Proc, whatever. And this is how I met another friend. Was this incident that me and this friend Proc were playing, and this guy kept killing us. I'm like, what the fuck is with this sniper? It's like every time, I swear to God, he's just looking for me. And the guy typed in the chat, and he's like, "Hey, are you streaming?" Because he saw the T.TV in my name. I'm like, yes. He's like, same. And that's how I met Lone Spirit.
That's
if anyone who knows who Lone Spirit is, because I don't
that
want to
doesn't usually end up that way. So that's good that you guys usually doesn't end up very well, but it's good that you guys became friends. That's awesome.
Yeah. Someone just said Dirty Bomb is so fun. It is such a fun game. I and just real quick, like the devs for that game are fucking awesome. Like they let me do giveaways. They gave me Twitch Prime, or they gave me the Twitch skins, the Twitch streamers, like Dirty Bomb skins.
Oh, there was like streamer specific skins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I never played it, but like I remember when it came out, it was like everywhere.
It's fun, and it's sad what's gonna happen to that game. Because they stopped active development. That the game that you play now is going to be what the game is forever, unless Splash Damage picks it back up.
That's who made it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think now they're working on Gears of War.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
They're subcontracted to Microsoft or something to that effect. Yeah, and I absolutely love that game. Like I said, Shu gave me like when they did their Melee update with like the skins, he gave me a golden knife to give away. Shu was always responsive to me. He wasn't responsive to everyone I know. They're always great.
That's tight, man. That's super cool.
Like I said, I'm a little disappointed with how that game ended up. I really think they should have listened to a lot of us when we complained about one character. What happened was there's one update. They put out a new character called Hunter, and then they updated, or they changed some abilities for a character named Phantom, who's the only character that could go invisible.
Dude, invisibility. It's the one that always breaks every game with abilities. It's such a tough thing to get right.
Well, what they did was that there was a radius around him that was an EMP, so that everything, any like health stations or anything like that would go down, which one could argue if he's invisible and the EMP is on, and then it's a little overpowered, but the radius was big enough that if you were paying attention, you would see, oh, hey, that thing is sparking over there because it's not working. That means there's a phantom nearby. They changed it to where he activated his EMP on his own. So not only was he invisible, but there's no tells that he was in your vicinity.
Oh, right, because he was just activating it whenever, or not activating it at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the problem, and people hated it. People already didn't like a character that could go invisible. And so a lot of
people... Paragon, trust me, I know all about invisibility.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to one of my favorite games of all time. But there was a character that could go invisible, and it was not easy to counter her for anything. So I know exactly where you're at with that.
So yeah, a lot of players left after that, and then it just kind of went downhill from there on a game that was already suffering low player counts.
Well, because it came out it's not super old, but I feel like maybe early 2010s, maybe like 2013, 2014.
2014 is what I want to lean on.
Yeah.
And for that entire time was basically in beta until this last summer.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
It was a beta build. This is like So, which I played the hell out of the game. I think I have 600 hours in that. Maybe.
Holy shit, you were dedicated.
Oh yeah.
That's like Skyrim hours for me. I don't know if I have a multiplayer game of. Well, no, PUBG's only like 150 or 200 hours.
Yeah. Which, to kind of get us back on track, you mentioned kind of a magic word there, Skyrim. So if you guys don't mind me kind of like railroading us into this conversation here.
Go for it.
By the way, I played 590 hours of Dirty Bomb. But this week I started playing... I had to open up Steam real quick to double check. This week I started playing a game called Enderal, which is a free Skyrim mod that has its own launcher. And it's really, really interesting. So to get this game, like I said, it's free on Steam, but you have to have a non-special edition version of Skyrim.
Downloading right now.
And so it's like a whole new world, whole new story. They change up some mechanics. I'm not super far into Enderal. I am. How many hours do I have on it right now? According to Steam, I have 5 hours into it. So they have like a couple custom races. And the story so far is that like you're some sort of refugee or immigrant going to this continent called Enderal from wherever you were before. And then you get caught on this ship, thrown into the ocean. So you get caught on the ship, then you have some sort of like supernatural experience where you have this vision. After that, you're thrown into the ocean, and then you wake up and you have these latent magical abilities. Which is connected to one of the mechanics that they add. So you have like all these hero attributes being like your stamina, your magicka, what they just call mana, your health, and then they have this thing called the arcane fever, which using certain spells and using
It's not similar to cat scratch fever, right? It's not Ted Nugent.
No.
I mean, all right, I gotta go. I'm just
but the arcane fever, when you use certain spells and like consume certain potions or are caught in certain areas, like there's certain areas that just have like way too much magic, your arcane fever goes up, and if that gets to like 100%, you die. And there's other negative effects the higher it gets up, maybe less mana, or like mana regenerates less or whatever. So there's kind of like that aspect, but they do some other things, like they rearrange some of the spells, and they call this different spell. They renamed some of the spell schools, I should say.
Mhm.
Like destruction is elementalism. There's some psionic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's a couple others. And I found, first off, spell casting is way better because this game is a little bit harder than Skyrim. One thing that they did do away with was level scaling. So anyone who's not familiar with Skyrim, the world levels up with you, but certain kinds of mobs or certain NPCs only level
cap.
up to a certain extent.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, they have a cap, which is why like the game doesn't feel like it gets any easier until you hit like god tier level. I have, all Daedric armor, all day, I'm casting twin spells, and so that's why that game doesn't necessarily feel like it's getting any easier.
You're just me dumping every point into strength. Literally just like, I'll just max it out so I can swing the biggest hammer possible.
Yeah.
Exactly. This game, they do away with that, and you're pretty on rails for at least so far. So
like the story is like guided.
Yeah, the story is guided. It's more linear. Now I'm gonna say it is technically open world, but you feel it kind of pushing you through, which is different. Like I said, this is a Skyrim mod, so Skyrim graphics, Skyrim physics.
Does it take place in the Elder Scrolls universe, or is it okay? It's a totally different game.
Totally different world. Yeah. Yep. And sorry, I kind of lost my track there. So yeah, it is open world, but you do feel guided through the story, which is kind of nice. Like someone explains to you the arcane fever, and they're like, okay, well, you have this thing, you have to go get it you have this condition because of your newfound magical abilities. You need to go talk to these people, but first, before I take you to these people, go do these things, right? It's like, okay, you did these things. Let's go talk to these. Let's go talk to these people. Those people who are like, well, the process is pretty long, but I know somebody who can help you in a much faster fashion. They're found over there. And then you go over there.
I'm playing through Dark Souls right now. I could use a little direction.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't know if you've ever played Dark Souls, but like, it doesn't tell you anything.
No.
They're just like,
no, it does not.
Go. And then you oh my god, dude. I'm like going to bosses and chats like, you don't even need to fight this boss. And I'm just like, I would never know. Like nobody tells you anything, which is like, it's part of the reason I love that game and I've fallen in love with that series. But like you're talking about like, yeah, they're telling you exactly where to go, like kind of pushing you along. I'm just like, I'm gonna play that tonight.
Yeah. I will say And what's kind of nice is I remember somebody saying, there's a point in I want to say Dark Souls 1 where like there's a fork in the road like very early in the game, and it's like one way is the way you're supposed to go, the other
Mhm.
way is not. And the
Yeah.
way you know it's not is because it's basically just death after death after death.
You're talking
And
about the graveyard.
I think so.
Yeah, no, I know you're talking about the graveyard because so to give a little context, I've never played a Souls game until last month when I started playing Dark Souls 1. I've been terrified of that series for a long time.
Mhm.
I've just always heard it's been, it's the hardest thing in the world. It's so frustrating, da 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 da. And I was just like, all right, it's not for me then. And chat was like, we want you to play it. We think you'll have fun. And I was just like, all right, you want to laugh at me die? I'll give you what you want. And I ended up falling in love with it.
Yeah.
I now I love Dark Souls 1 so much. And even the series, like I'm playing 2 right now. I'm falling in love with that. But I love Dark Souls 1 enough that as soon as I finished it, I bought it on the Switch. So I own it twice now. And you're talking about the graveyard, and I know you are because at the very beginning of the game, I went to the graveyard. And that's my literal first experience with mobs outside of the asylum demon, which is like the first boss you face. My first experience with mobs, like in and around Firelink Shrine, are the skeletons in the graveyard. And I like go in and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not doing any damage. Like I'm swinging my sword and I'm like literally chunking like 5 HP every time. And I was like, all right, this is just how hard the game is. That's how it's gonna be. And I'm like dying over and over. And chat's like, oh, I want to tell him so bad. And I was just like, don't tell me anything. It's a blind run. I have pride. And I'm literally dying. I died for like an hour and a half. And I was like, all right, I need I'm so sick of this. I need somebody to tell me where to go. They're like, yeah, you're not supposed to be here for like another 6 or 7 hours. And I was just like, oh my God. And then they were just like, that's Dark Souls. And I'm just like, honestly, at that point, I was just like, I don't think I'm going to like this very much. And then once I finished it, I was just like, this is one of the best games I've ever played. Like like I said, I went out and bought it on the Switch. I'm replaying it on my Switch. I'm also playing New Game Plus on my computer. Like I've started buying like all the Dark Souls merch that I can, and like I spent like at this point probably the same amount of hours I did playing Dark Souls watching Dark Souls lore. Like I've like read everything that I can. I'm like trying to understand every little bit and piece of the world. Like, dude, I'm obsessed with it. I'm literally chat knows, like anybody from my stream could tell you it's all I care about now. Like I'm obsessed. I was Dark Souls 1, I was just like, yeah, we'll finish this. We'll probably play like 3 or 4 other games. Maybe we'll come back to 2. We finished it and I was like, all right, we'll play God of War. That game's like 20 hours long. It's pretty short. Amazing game, by the way. And then I was like, guys, I think we're just gonna play Dark Souls 2, and then I think we're gonna play 3, and then I think we're gonna play Bloodborne, and then we'll play Sekiro, and then we'll play something else.
I
So
am
like,
so excited for Sekiro.
oh my God, dude, it
Unbelievably
looks so
excited.
good. I'm just so bummed because like I got into Souls right after, or like I fell in love with Souls right after the Sekiro pre-orders stopped. And so not only have I missed out now on Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne collector's editions, but now I by like a week I missed out on the Sekiro, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like searching eBay, and I'm just like, you want me to pay $240 for this? I'm thinking about it. I don't have that money, but I'm thinking about it. I want that statue. Like, I'm obsessed, dude. I can't. It's such a good game. So like, you keep talking about instruction, and I'm just like, this sounds like a game I want to play in my free time.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like I have no problem with it giving me instruction. A lot of people would look
Yeah,
at
as
this
long
as
as it's
like
done well.
yeah. Now, which that done well thing. Let's talk about some flaws I've seen with the game. First off, Skyrim mod. So we all know what that means. Weird, wonky glitches.
Oh yeah.
Weird, wonky physics every once in a while. I haven't run into too much of it. AI, obviously, if you get
you can't fix
if you get into it, if you get into a fight that you're having trouble with, try to catch the NPC on a rock and pick it off with an arrow.
Yeah.
Skyrim. So there's that. Some of the things, so obviously as a mod, you don't expect like the greatest voice acting. I think a lot of the
Yeah, that's
stuff,
fair.
a lot of the stuff, it seems like it. I think I want to say the original or the core team is German, so like the core writing team or whatever. So I've noticed like a few times where something is just kind of clunkily worded
Yeah, for sure. It's just
back
doesn't
to English.
translate super well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing that this is just something I kind of have where um if something if something is really good and then the next thing you experience is really bad, like voice acting, that throws me way off. I'd rather voice acting be all bad than than like
Them being a mixed bag.
than some of it
Yeah,
being like
yeah.
there is like for example, like there's this like character that you have to go talk to, and you have to go talk to him in this town. Well, as you enter this town, there's this kid that will stop you. Like it's a forced interaction. It's like, hey, you, yeah, you, can you help me with this?
It's like
Daddy said I can't do, or something like that.
it's like
I'm
one of the
It's like a
modders like
30-year-old
son.
guy.
No, it was an actual kid.
Oh.
It's like that's what I was, yeah, it's like one of the modders' sons. He was like, "All right, I
Yeah.
need you to say this," and he said it. He was like, "It's a free mod. That's good enough."
Yeah.
Like,
But then like the
you're never
character
gonna
that
be an
you're
actor.
yeah. But like the character that you go to like talk to, I'm phenomenal. It's like, yes, I do. Obviously, I'm not a good voice actor. Yes, I do
What are
know
you
who you're
talking about?
talking
It's so convincing.
to.
I'm already sold.
I do know who you're talking to and or who you're talking about, and yes, very tragic what happened to him, and yes, I knew him. Just like phenomenal, like very convincing. Like the quality itself was good in, um, like the not quality as in like how good it is, but the quality in is how it is. Does that
Yeah,
make
for
sense?
sure.
Like some of like the mics, like whoever was doing the audio editing, just it wasn't like good at making all the mics sound like they were kind of the
Well,
same.
right, because it's a mod. They're like they
Yeah.
can't really pay people,
Yeah.
and so it's like a forum post on the Nexus, and they're just like,
Yeah.
"All right, we need voice actors," and like Eric, who lives in the middle of nowhere, has like his headset, and he's like, I'm a voice actor. And he like sends his lines in, and everyone's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, he already did it. Like, I guess
Yeah.
we put it in the game, and like
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, you didn't have to, but
Yeah. Those are just kind of like
God
my
damn it,
nitpicky
Eric.
things. Yeah, those are just like my nitpicky things. Like, if I have like a lot, if I have anything really to complain about, is voice acting and the acting quality and sound quality sometimes aren't the best. And it's built on Skyrim. So
Yeah.
flaws that Skyrim has
Specifically
are
the
flaws
old
that this
version
game
of
has.
Right?
Skyrim.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
hey, it's a mod built on an engine
Yeah.
that's at this point
Mhm.
friggin'
Otherwise,
million years old.
Yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, the story itself feels compelling. Like I'm compelled to like keep going through it more. Um, the way that they kind of separate out some of the skills and do some other things is genuinely kind of refreshing. So like perks, everyone knows a Skyrim perk tree. You level up, you choose mana, or you choose magicka, health, or stamina. And then it takes you to this perk tree and you have all these abilities. Instead of there's like you have like some combat points that you can you like press Y to meditate, and then you get like teleported to this dimension where you have all of like these standing stones. And then you like look at the standing stone and it has the constellation on it, and then you choose part of the constellation like you would in regular Skyrim.
Oh, right. It's like still
But-
the star chart or whatever.
Yeah. And like I said, they like there's some different perks, like there's some new perks. And it's still like a point-based system. So, you still get like a point every time you level up or whatever else. But then they also have like learning books that will like increase your level in like a certain thing. It's like a learning book for medium armor, or a learning book for elementalism, or psionics, or whatever. And so you find like learning books, and you can buy learning books, and it'll like help increase your level. So you go and find a tier 1 learning book for elementalism, and then maybe you're in a dungeon and you find a tier 3 learning book for heavy armor. Something kind of like that. um, which has been kind of interesting as well. I will say, um, like the crafting aspect, like it hasn't like pushed you to any sort of crafting.
Mm-hmm.
Like in regular vanilla Skyrim, you usually push, you go to Whiterun, or basically anytime you run into town, you can easily find a crafting station
Mm-hmm.
for whatever you want.
Right. There's that girl in what's the first city? I don't know. She's an asshole.
Whiterun.
Yeah.
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 She's super mean, dude. You're just like, she's like, my father wanted me to make this sword. I was just like, I don't like. I just have these ingots, and like, I just need to make a thing. Like, I'm sorry that your
You want some
dad's
dragon
mean.
bones? I'll sell you some dragon
Yeah,
bones.
like she's like always. I remember the first time I played, I was just like, why is she so mean? Like, I just want to make a sword. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And she's like arguing with like an Imperial. And it's like, I can't make this many swords.
Oh
Do you
yeah, I
want-"
forgot that like whole
Mhm.
that whole conversation or whatever. Yeah.
The forced cutscene kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Like, we need 1 billion swords. She's like, I can't. It's like
you
it's like
can't
the-
or you won't.
yeah, it's like the goofiest. Like, I mean, it's Skyrim. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's typical Elder Scrolls, like corny dialogue, but you still love it. Like,
Yeah. So it's definitely worth picking up if you, like I said, you have to have a non-special edition version of Skyrim,
yeah,
which is fine with me.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I bought that game on release, so like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So-
have the special edition, I have the regular edition, I have the VR. Like, I bought that game like 7 times.
Yeah, so it's free if you want to do like some other try out a different RPG. I don't know if this is connected to like any sort of like D&D homebrew or anything like that. I just remember seeing like a YouTube video and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's." And I watched Twitch partner Tiger Rider, which Austin, I'll tell you about him later.
I am not familiar.
He used to be a part of our local DIY scene here where I live.
Oh,
He's like
word.
yeah. Twitch partner Tiger Rider. I watched him do a little Enderal as well.
Yeah, I've seen people playing. Like, I've seen people in the Skyrim category recently, like playing
Mhm.
through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw I saw a variety of people picking up Skyrim again. I'm like, huh, this is kind of strange. Like, these are people I don't like watch, or I didn't realize we're gonna like play Skyrim again. And then no, it ended up being Enderal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely worth picking up and trying. And it's pretty fresh. If you're like me and have done like 3 or 4 or 5 playthroughs of Skyrim, doing the systems, the perks, how everything is, you know how you want to do a build. This is like kind of coming at it from a fresh perspective and just being like, what works best for me. I found, which I've played like one caster in Skyrim. I'm playing a caster this time around. I'm doing like the full elementalism, mostly because I ran into a troll. There's like cave trolls everywhere, and they regenerate health.
Nope.
Unless you
Don't want to do it.
unless you do fire damage. I don't know if this is how it is in Skyrim.
No, it's not. A lot of mods implement that though, because when I did the December like modded Skyrim charity month,
Like
a ton
like
of them
elemental
were like, that's a
damage
thing.
specifically.
Specifically fire.
Oh, that's
that's
just missing from vanilla.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not in vanilla.
the stopping of health regeneration is the fire damage is still there, but it won't exactly
okay,
stop.
I see what
health
you're
regen.
saying. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Because I know that's a D&D thing. That started with probably 2nd edition of D&D, where trolls of every variety regenerate health, but they're weak to fire, and they won't regenerate fire damage.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's how that's a pretty common thing for a lot of fantasy games to implement, because Dungeons and Dragons have done it for a very long time.
Shout out to Gary Gygax.
Shout out to Gary Gygax. So yeah, so I just found being a caster was really easy. I'm like, this fucking troll. I'm trying to do sword and shield, because I don't know what I want to necessarily do yet. And then this troll just kept killing me. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna just then I like realized that, oh yeah, hey, fire damage really works well on this guy, and I just like didn't
Dude,
stop.
casters, any game, like any RPG you're having trouble, I feel like, oh, you want to cheese the whole game and it'd be relatively easy? Play a caster.
Right.
Play
Well,
magic. That's
yeah.
all of
Well,
Dark Souls. That's literally all of Dark Souls. It's just like,
yeah.
oh, you want to get through everything easy? Cast lightning. You'll be
Yeah.
good for the whole game.
Yeah. Well, for me, there was a build I did in Skyrim where it was just like conjuration, and I was an archer. So it's like, yeah, get
Yeah,
my
you
get
can't.
Lydia, and then summon whatever I can. Early game familiars. Atronox.
Dude,
Eventually
I've been
getting
playing
Daedra.
Elder Scrolls since Morrowind, and I've literally never once even thought about using magic.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just like it's not my thing. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's always just been like I want the heaviest armor and the biggest weapon, and I just want to swing it and do as much damage as possible. I've just never in any RPG. I just don't play magic characters. Diablo is the same way. It's like always just super high DPS. Like I never cared about magic. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird.
Yeah.
All my friends are like casters are fun, and I'm just like, nope, don't want to deal with it. Just want to swing a sword.
I gravitate towards like in D&D and stuff like that. I gravitate towards like druids, but really that's the only thing. That's like the only magic class that interests me at all. It's like either monk or
Druid
fighter.
is like shapeshifter, right? Isn't that a druid?
Druid, yeah, druids, they can do the wild shape, so it's any creature categorized as a beast. Depending on your level, you can either get a swim or a fly speed. At certain levels, and then at other levels, or then it's also dependent on the beast challenge rating. So like level 2 can only do 1/4 challenge rating creatures, which relegates you to doing black bears and wolves and something similar.
Yeah, literally the only characters I've ever played in Elder Scrolls are like Khajiit thieves, because it's just like fun to kill people with daggers, or generally almost every time that I can, it's just like a warrior orc. Just like make the ugliest, biggest, meanest looking orc, and then just get the biggest armor and just wreck. And I love it. Also, I just love the idea that like I'm an orc and also the Dovahkiin. That's so stupid to me. Like I don't know why, but I'm just like that seems really unlikely.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
I also feel the same way.
In Oblivion, it's like whatever, because you're just like traveling through the realms. But like specifically Skyrim, it's like, oh, the orc is the dragonborn. Okay, sure.
Right.
Like maybe him and or like orcs and what are the lizards?
Argonians.
Argonians. I was gonna say Argonaut, and I was like, I don't think that's right. I never play as an Argonian. I think their abilities are stupid. But yeah, like those two specifically just seem the most ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Oh God, what was it? There is in Elder Scrolls Online, kind of everybody can sort of be everything unless you're gonna min max it, but you really only need to min max if you're gonna be doing a lot of PvP.
Yeah, I've actually never even touched ESO.
I really like ESO. It's probably the only MMO that I've enjoyed other than like RuneScape when I was in middle school. But I can no longer play it. I've talked about this before, but I'm pretty sure I got this weird thing where, because it's on its own launcher or whatever the problem seems to be, I can't install the updates. The updates are blocked by my ISP.
That's so weird.
Yeah, well, I'm not the only person that has had this problem, and forever I was trying to figure it out, where like it would do like 1%, 2%, stop, download stalled.
That sounds like every Windows update for me, ever.
Oof.
All the time.
Yeah, it's just kind of been. I just uninstalled it, said fuck it, maybe when I go somewhere else or get different, I can try to reinstall it and play again.
You're smarter than me, because that's like that when I get those problems that persist with my computer, I'm just like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna reinstall Windows 45 times. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, dude, I've had like the smallest of issues where everyone else could just ignore it, and I'm like, I can't ignore it.
Yeah.
I had an issue with PUBG when it came out, and it turned out, of course, it wasn't my fault, but I was
Mhm.
gonna figure out the way to fix it. Where I would get like these weird micro stutters when I would play. Like every
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 minutes, I'd be running, and then I would feel it just kind of jitter, and I would
Yeah.
be like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna figure that out. And I'm like Googling. I'm like, all right, maybe it's my drivers. It's not my drivers. Da, da, da. And so I like it came all the way down to like, fucking, I'm reinstalling Windows. And that's
Mhm.
always my solution for everything. Of course, reinstall Windows. And I was like, it's still there. And it ended up getting patched. It was just like an issue with the specific card that I had. And yeah,
Mhm.
I get really impatient when I have any issues at all. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I expect so much out of computers, but I'm just like, why don't you work like a console?
Yeah, and unfortunately, this, like I said, this wasn't an issue on my side. This was an issue where like the ZeniMax information was being blocked.
Yeah, that's
Like,
mad weird. Shout out to ISPs. Always work when you need them to. We were talking about that
dude.
before it started, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, we had a whole rant on this last week.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, my community knows. Like, they know how
Mhm.
I feel about Comcast. Like to the point where like I was ready to like make a shirt that I was gonna wear every stream that just said like fuck or like just something about Comcast because dude, it is a nightmare. It is a nightmare.
Yeah,
But yeah, so ISPs super good. Love it. Big
great.
fan.
We kind of mentioned if you guys have any questions about Enderal, do you guys have anything about Enderal you want to talk about? Still?
No, you literally gave me like the most clear description of everything. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, literally, it's open in Steam right now. I'm just like, cool, I'm going to install that and I'm going to try it when I have free time.
Nice. We kind of mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, and I just kind of want to get this news out that I'm kind of interested in, and it's for sure going to be better than Fallout 76, because
God.
Fallout,
Yikes.
your because you can't fuck up your own imagination. Fallout is getting an official pen and paper RPG later this.
Yeah. I saw that. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this like the other day. I was like, we walked by a board game cafe. I live in Chicago, so like, we have things that everywhere else they wouldn't make sense, but you see it here and you're just like, yeah, of course. And we walked by and I was just like, I want to be friends with all of those people in there because I don't have any friends to play board games with. And then yeah, I read about the Fallout pen and paper game and I was like, now I really want friends to play board games with. And then I found out there's a Dark Souls board game and I was like, this is
Yeah.
just getting worse. This is getting worse.
This is unfair.
Such a
Yeah.
bummer. It's so sick though. It looks awesome. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what all of the um what's going to make the system different, because there's a couple different systems. I'm kind of curious to see kind of like what dice you're going to need, and if it's going to be like a bunch of proprietary stuff, or if this is
Yeah.
just going to be like, hey, buy our books and have a set of polyhedral dice, like how
Right,
Dungeons and
right.
Dragons does it. And Pathfinder, I don't think you need any proprietary dice. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. I'm hoping that it's just going to be obviously they're going to have their proprietary minis and stuff like that, but I think
And
you
they
can
look
make,
cool.
yeah,
In the
yeah,
picture, I saw the power armor. It looks really
mhm,
cool.
yeah, which hopefully they come out with a bunch of high quality minis, because I know if I've watched a few streams. Shout out to and former guest Joshua Lormer, who does the Sneak Attack podcast, and um, he's the DM for the podcast Titans of Altera. So shout out to him. But he used to do quite a bit of like miniature painting on his stream,
Yeah.
and he had like a high quality DSLR set up, and you would see him paint like chromatic cobalts and all sorts of cool stuff. So I'm really hoping like they put some time into making like some really cool super mutants and
Yeah.
death claws, because that'll probably be something I'll watch a couple hours of. Is just like watching people
Well, and
paint.
that's like the cool thing now where with games that use minis, like we're at the point with 3D printing where it's like
Mhm.
really, really good that you can just be like, I want to make a super mutant. As long as you know how to mod, obviously, if you
Yeah.
can like
Mhm.
CAD or whatever software, like yeah, you can just make your own minis now, and it's so sick.
Yeah.
So like if they suck, like kind of a bummer because I know that game's not going to be cheap. But
Mhm.
there's all even on top of that, it's just like people will add to it. You know, you'll get like tons of extras because they're gonna go nuts with it. I mean, Fallout is it literally permeates like so many different subcultures as far as like games go, board games and like PC gaming, and now you've got like friggin' mobile, whatever. So like it's everywhere. So people everywhere love it, and people are definitely gonna just start making their own minis, and it's gonna be sick. Now I just need to find friends to play with.
And what's interesting about the first Fallout 1 and 2 and basically everything before Fallout 3 was that it was a top-down isometric. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean it literally was just a pen and paper game, but on a computer.
Yeah. So it'll probably please a lot of old school Fallout fans.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like I said, it literally cannot be worse than Fallout 76 because most aspects this is limited by your imagination.
Yeah.
The only way it can suck worse is if the books don't make sense and the books come like with half the pages missing. That's the only way this
half the pages are missing. You have to rebuy the book to get the book again.
They were like, look, that half of the book was really expensive. We couldn't. It was in low supply. We're really sorry, so we just shipped it with half the pages.
Yeah. But don't worry, instead of using the high quality like page paper, we're using toilet paper. Like put in the rest of it.
If you'd like,
so don't worry, it's all good.
It'll
be ready in 4 months.
In-game credits for it.
We'll give you some back of the book credits.
Look, I can be critical of Bethesda because I have like a lot of people that were like I've loved pretty much everything Bethesda's ever done. So I like to poke fun, but I have a lot of love for that studio because without them, like I don't think I would have ever even gotten into the RPG side of video games and also like board games, because when I played Morrowind for the first time, I was like, this is what D&D is like. I want to play D&D. And like, it's impossible to get anybody to play because everybody's busy. But like when I was a kid, we didn't know what we were doing, but we were just like, well, I'm going to roll the dice and we're going to read this thing and we're probably not playing this right, but it's super fun. So I mean, Bethesda, I attribute to a lot of what I love, but being critical is important, right?
Yeah. Letting a company know when you don't like something is valuable.
Yes. But it's also not threatening them. Because people on the internet can be so terrible. I try to advocate this as much as possible, like to my community. I always say, I'm just like, please be critical of things, especially things you love and things that you're spending your money on. But for the love of God, please don't attack people on Twitter. That is not what game devs need, especially not in 2019. I'm sure that you guys at least heard about the whole Spider-Man thing with the Raimi suit.
Yeah.
Dude, like I have a lot of friends and I'm like continue to make more that work on games and work in games. Like I've got a friend at Blizzard and I got a friend who was at Square Enix. I think he just moved to Digital Extremes, pretty sure. But I just like hear horror stories, right? Of just like people being like, I'm gonna kill you because I didn't like this update. It's just like, we should just like be nice to people. It's super easy.
Yeah.
Like just tell them you don't like things, but also don't threaten to kill them for it.
It's one thing to hate the game. It's another thing to personally attack some random dude.
Right.
Like
so crazy.
Totally
I feel so
a
bad.
different ball game. Yeah.
So
no,
be critical of Fallout 76, but don't threaten Todd Howard. I promise you, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
The only thing
he has his best intentions at heart.
The only thing you should threaten them with is a lawsuit if they're that shitty.
Yeah, if they don't send you things they're supposed to send you, that's kind of wrong.
They said if they're that shitty.
Look, man, I just don't think you understand how expensive Canvas was. We had to send you the nylon bag.
I just like, this is a very recent announcement, like it just happened today. So they've already released their roadmap of DLCs. They're already delaying.
Yeah, I saw that, which is a good start.
Today. Yeah, the DLC that's supposed to be released today is already delayed. Fuck.
Oh, that's not good. Not good. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. Apparently, it's only supposed to be delayed by a day.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Who fucking knows?
Crackdown was delayed for 4 years, so
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It could be
yikes.
anything. Yeah.
Was there anything else that you guys had in mind you want to talk about tonight, or anything like
I don't think so. This was
the only
super solid conversation.
Yeah.
the
I don't
only? Oh,
I
go
think we're
ahead.
good. No, I think we're good.
Okay, I'd say the only news is that Niantic it revealed that they're gonna make a Harry Potter game.
Um,
No, can we not expect the GhostKey guys to be going around the
okay,
country
so
playing Harry Potter?
again, context is important. Number one, we all played Pokemon Go a whole bunch when it came out. I'm not gonna be. I'm not a hater. Pokemon Go was sick. I played it with my
Mhm.
girlfriend. It was awesome. We would like walk around our neighborhood and stuff. It was really fun. The reason I am thumbs down on this Harry Potter game is because I thought, and this is what everybody thought, that everybody I've talked to, when there was like rumors swirling of a Harry Potter game getting announced or like being talked about this week officially, because like we've
Mhm.
known about this game for a while, like
Mhm.
they've talked about it, but it wasn't like officially announced,
Right.
and all the rumors online is like there's a Harry Potter game they're going to talk about this week. WB is going to. I thought it was going to be the Harry Potter game that leaked last year, like the open world RPG that they're doing.
Oh. Mhm.
And then they started talking about it, and I was just like, that's not what I wanted. So it's really more on me, like it's my expectations, but like
Mhm.
I just the Harry Potter RPG that is supposed to exist is
Mhm.
literally the Harry Potter game I've wanted since I played the first Harry Potter game on PS1.
Mm.
Like it's everything I've ever wanted from a Harry Potter game, and it's taken
Mhm.
so long for them to do, and I'm so excited about that game. But yeah, this got announced today, and I was like, that's not really what I wanted. I don't need another AR phone game. Like
Mhm.
Ghostbusters has one now, and it's like it's pretty fun. But yeah, I'm not super interested in these, and I'm like I love Harry Potter. My girlfriend's like a diehard. We went to Florida and did like Harry Potter World, and I like almost cried when I walked in because it was like the most magical place I've ever been in my life.
Mhm.
But it's not my Harry Potter open world RPG. So like ugh,
Mhm.
I'm bummed. I'm bummed. That's all.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's like the only other bit of news. I'm like,
Yeah.
that'll probably be free.
There's
Halo Chief
really
Master Collection got
Yeah, I
announced
was gonna say there's
for
some
That's
very
true.
tiny news that we don't really have a whole lot about right now. But
Yeah.
yes, Halo Master Chief Collection Pog is finally getting released on PC. I don't need to buy like a new like an Xbox.
I saw my like few of my friends being like, who cares? Like
I care.
put it to rest. Like this, we've already had this game like 4 times. Yeah, but we haven't had it on Steam
Yeah. No, when I did
because I've been playing Halo 1 Combat Evolved on PC for like 10 years, 15 years, however long now. Like I just want a good Halo shooter on PC. Like it comes with Reach too, which is awesome. Like
yeah.
there's no reason not to be stoked. Like I can
No,
finally
I'm
play
super
all the
excited.
campaigns on my PC, and I can play multiplayer, and then we'll get Halo Infinite, and I can play that. Like I love games on all platforms. Like I am not one of those people that's like PS4, not
Yeah.
Xbox. Xbox is tight. They just don't have anything I want.
Yeah.
But like with them, yeah, bringing Halo to the PC, I've wanted that since they told me they weren't putting Halo 2 on the PC. I was just like,
Right?
what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm big stoked for it. Like I think it's a cool announcement. Like they've got my money. Like
Yeah. No,
easily.
I completely agree. I'm so excited because Halo 2 was my favorite shooter of all time. And I am so pumped to play Halo 2 Remaster on PC.
Yeah.
I
dude.
am beyond
Plus it's gonna look
excited.
better. Like who doesn't
Right?
want that? Come
Oh
on.
my god.
I'm one of
Yeah.
those people though that like every time somebody remasters a game, I'm like, I'll buy it. Like all my friends are like, you gotta stop buying remasters. Like, they're just rehashing all these old games. And I was just like, here's the deal.
Yeah, but they're good though.
If you wanna remaster Ocarina of Time for the Switch, you got my money. You wanna remaster Majora's Mask, you got my money. What I really want you to remaster is Super Mario Sunshine. You got my money. I'm fine with remasters. I'll buy them. Like I don't care how many times you sell me a game, as long as it looks prettier every time. Like that's all I need. I could play Crash Bandicoot on an emulator. I got the remaster. It looks better. It's awesome. Like Like
And
my girlfriend played through the Spyro remasters. Could have just played them on an emulator. Didn't. Looks better. It's sick. Like remasters are tight. I'm not a hater. And also, if you don't want it, you just don't buy it.
Right. There's one other thing too, and that also just got announced today. There's some big hints towards a Borderlands 3.
Yeah, that has to happen.
Big hint. There was some
So
Gearbox posted on Twitter. I think it's March 28th.
Oh, really?
That's what they're doing their announcement on. I think. I don't
Oh,
know if it's their announcement
that's
or what, but they
weird.
definitely posted something about that on Twitter.
Oh wait, that's PAX East. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's around PAX East.
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, because they were talking about how they had an announcement, and here's like, so I like try to follow the games industry as much as possible because that's like where I want to end up as far as a career goes, and also just because I love games, like I just want to know as much as I can. Gearbox is not doing well. I don't know how much you know about the situation, but like their CEO got into like a whole bunch of stuff. There was like talk of like the dude being caught with like child like images of like children on his computer, and like again, this is all speculation and rumor. Like this is floated around. This has been floating around the industry for a while. I heard it from Kind of Funny Games Cast. If you guys are familiar with like that. Kind of Funny, great podcast. But yeah, so like this dude is in like major trouble. But the big story was that he was getting cut checks from, I can't remember who was publishing Borderlands, but whoever it was, they're like cutting Gearbox checks, and it turns out that that dude is pocketing these publishing checks, and it ends up being to the tune of like more than $1 million. And
Jesus.
so then
just embezzlement.
Yeah, and so Gearbox as a studio is just like, all right, you're out. Also, we're suing you. And then on top of that, like they had whatever that hero shooter, Battleborn.
That was a total financial failure for them.
Yeah, that totally fell apart. And so like between
and realistically,
that
that's
and
the
like,
last thing they've really released, and they've been like just in the
and
gutter since then.
Borderlands VR apparently is very good, but it's only on PSVR, so I haven't played it yet. It's actually I read a bunch of reviews and people really liked it, so I'm sure that like there was a little cash flow generated there for sure. But yeah, they're not doing well, and Borderlands 3's been in the oven for like 5-6 years now.
Yeah,
and
releasing this will definitely get them out of that rut, like 100%.
Hopefully. I mean, fingers crossed. I love the Borderlands series. My only problem is I'm just like, you've had a lot of games that have like built on your formula now.
Yeah.
That have come out. Like, where is Borderlands? What's Borderlands gonna feel like? Is it gonna be a game in 2019, or is it gonna feel like a game that got made in 2015, 2014?
Right.
But yeah, hopefully, like that. I'm stoked for that announcement. I'm really excited to see what they did with it.
Yeah.
Which JDC or GDC is coming next week, I want to say, right?
Yeah, end of next week.
Which we talked with Grover a couple weeks ago before we got rudely interrupted by my internet service provider. Google's going to have some announcements. I saw there's some potential leaks for a Google controller, which might be connected to something.
The Google Stream Box is what everyone thinks it is.
Yeah,
I was in the beta for the Google Stream. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like played in a Google Chrome tab. It was cool. It worked really well. Like I don't know. I think that's like going to be a huge thing, especially for GDC and like probably even E3. Like there'll be a lot of talk about like streaming games.
Yeah, my feeling has been it's going to be like you're right, like a Android centric gaming software or some sort of stream box.
Yeah,
that's going to be that's my feeling, that maybe that Google is going to do some sort of phone or tablet software meant for specifically gaming, Android based kind of thing.
Yeah,
something for that. Those are my two theories on what they're going to do. So yeah, anything else you guys have?
That should do it.
Yeah,
I'm feeling like we tapped it all for today. All right, so Austin, EyyOhBee, tell us everywhere that you are doing stuff, where people can find it, what you're doing there, all that stuff. Plug away, friend.
So like probably the biggest thing, like I said at the beginning of the cast is I've invested like a ton of time in Twitch the past year and a half. So I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/EyyOhBee, EyyOhBee. I stream 5 days a week. And I start at the same time every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. And I stream at, hold on, I used to have this down. I always do it at the end of the stream. 8:30 PST, 10:30 CST, 11:30 EST for all the time zones. If you live in other parts of the world, I'm sorry, I'm not that smart.
Use your
But
smartphone.
yeah, and then all my socials are the same thing as my Twitch, like Twitter, Instagram. It's just at EyyOhBee. I don't use my Instagram a ton. I need to be better about it, especially with like all the streaming I do. But I use Twitter like every day. It's like my favorite social media for sure. Plus, the only cool thing I've ever done with my life, I am verified on Twitter. I am not ashamed to say that. I am proud of that flex. So
Wait, is that
follow
how
me
you
on
guys?
Twitter.
Is that how you guys got roasted by Wendy's?
I'm sure that's why they were probably like verified. What a joke. He has 1,500 followers. Meanwhile, people with like 40,000 are hitting me up and they're like, "How did you get verified?" I'm like, "Dog, I have no idea." Like, I wish I could tell you, but I can't. I don't know. So yeah, follow me on Twitter for sure. And then Twitch. Twitch is like my big thing. Like I spend so much time on it, and like I'm super lucky to have it because like I've built a really cool community. And I've grown a lot from the person that was streaming a year and a half ago to one person playing PUBG. Shout out to Ryan Summers, one of my mods. He was the first, like one of the first people to ever watch me. But yeah, it's sick. I'm playing through the Dark Souls series, like I said, first time ever. I'm literally, it's one of my favorite series of all time. I got my little Totaku figure of Artorias that I picked up the other day on my desk. But right now we're playing Dark Souls 2, and then I'm going to go on to 3, and then I'll play Bloodborne, and then we'll play Sekiro, which I'll be a little late to, but it's fine because it's going to be super saturated when it comes out. Yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Just literally find me on Twitch. That's the most important thing. Just come hang out on my channel with literally some of the best people I've ever met my entire life and watch me die.
And then anything you want to plug for the band, any upcoming tours or shows or
we don't really have a whole lot going on. We're gonna start writing. We are just kind of we're just writing. Like right now there's not a lot going on. We're in a position where like our next record I'm pretty sure is independent. And so we might put out an EP. I have no idea what we're doing. Like we're just kind of going with the flow, which is super nice because like we've like grind for the past few years, and like now we're at a point where we can just kind of do whatever we want, which is super sick. Like I'm really excited about that. We don't have to like adhere to like a certain schedule or anything. It's just like we get to create without like any pressure, and that's super tight. So our music's probably gonna end up sounding way different than anything we've done before, but like I'm just excited to write music with my friends. So in like 2 weeks we're gonna get together and start doing that, which is really cool. Outside of that, we have one show. We're playing Casey. If anybody's familiar with that band, they're breaking up. They're flying to the U.S. for one final show. We're playing that in Chicago. It's in May. It's sold out, so you can't get tickets. But if you're going, come say what's up. People have been yelling at me while I'm on stage, yelling EyyOhBee, because they're like, "I watch you on Twitch. It's really funny." And I have like one of my sound bites is a thing that was made for me by the Heart Support guys, and it's one of their kids screaming my name, and it's really funny. It's just like they're just like EyyOhBee, and like I use it for everything. So now when we play shows, people who are familiar with my Twitch are just like EyyOhBee, and I'm just like, God damn it! But also that's sick. So, it's pretty tight. But yeah, that's all for me. That's all I got.
Oh man.
All right. Ren.
Hello, hi. Yeah, that's me. You can find me at twitch.tv/renditions with 2 Z's because I'm dumb and I don't know how to spell. No, that's not the reason why. But tomorrow I'm probably gonna be playing more Darkest Dungeon. I think we're just gonna pop out more and more Darkest Dungeon. On Friday it's my birthday, so I'm gonna be doing a drunk stream of Among the Sleep.
Oh boy.
Which is like a really weird horror game where I guess you play as a baby. It's super weird, but we're about to play it anyway. But that's all I currently have planned right now. That's basically it. So yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm all good.
Awesome. Which, by the way, I had the thought the other day. I'm like, I should probably ask Ren when his birthday is, so I can plan, the promo stuff. Be like, hey, happy birthday to the best co-host I've ever had.
Oh god.
So it's now good to know that I know your birthday. Which, by the way, chat, let me just shame Ren here. We've been doing this podcast for about half a year now.
Oh, come on. All
and I
right.
still don't know his real name.
Yeah, you're not gonna find out.
Oh my
That's not gonna happen.
God.
Nobody knows. It's internet secret.
Anyways, coming up for my channel, first off, I'll be dog sitting a little bit this next week, so stream may or may not be like a little late tomorrow. Probably won't be streaming Thursday, probably streaming Friday, and then I actually am taking a little mini vacation / day trip up to the Twin Cities. So won't be doing anything over the weekend. Maybe Sunday night, who knows? Kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Other than that, make sure you guys follow the podcast on Spotify, subscribe on Apple Podcast or iTunes, depending on where you are, if you're on desktop or mobile. Find us on YouTube. We're also on Stitcher, and if you ever need to, you can listen to us right from our web host called Wooshka. Follow us on Twitter, and that's at NTNPod. Anything else, guys? Absolutely anything else you want to mention?
I'm good.
Plug?
I'm streaming tonight. Come through.
All right. Guys, until next week, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.